You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And hello, this is Mike Lodge. I'm glad that you have joined me. It's a beautiful Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday morning here in South Florida. A little chilly out, but it's okay. It's better than the last two mornings that were absolutely freezing. But it's good to have a nice chilly morning to go outside and take a little walk. Enjoy life just a little bit. I've been watching these hearings before the state legislatures. I don't know if you've been doing that also. But it's been quite interesting to hear the testimony of so many individuals who experienced, who saw, who took note, who complained, said something about the election process as they were working in the different polling places and election headquarters of these states. And every one of them, as I listened to it, I was taken back, and I almost shed a few tears because here we are supposed to have an election that's supposed to be fair. It's supposed to take your vote and my vote and count them correctly. And the people that are working in those places should really know what they're doing. They should be able to determine what is legal and what is not legal in the votes that come in. But as I was listening to Michigan, and also I listened to the one in Arizona, it was the same thread of concern that the individuals running the elections do not really know what they're doing. They haven't been trained in the ethics of elections, and their work ability is hampered severely because they have no work ethic. And there were literally, and if you look at the cities that there was the highest amount of problems, they were in cities that have a history of political nonsense, corruption. So, as they were telling their stories, and some of them literally broke down into tears because they wanted to do a good job for their country. They wanted the process to be legitimate, clean, for all Americans. And you had some very, very devilish type individuals who were trying to control this election. I'm telling you, this is the most corrupt election that we probably have ever had in this nation. One of the concerns that I have, and I have it all the time, when government hands touch data, the data becomes corrupt. We have seen it so much time and time again over this course of this lockdown that we've had with COVID. The data that has been presented within the various states has been bad data. It's been over-exaggerated data. It has been data schemed and manipulated to show their political beliefs. In other words, the data became corrupted with politics. And any time that there's data being generated by any government agency, and I'm going to say it, any government agency or organization, if there's politics involved, the data isn't any good. You might as well just throw it to the side. You see it so many times. I have an associate who is a healthcare programmer, and she was assigned to go to Vermont. And she was there for several months, going through their healthcare database, especially on mental health, the mental health database, and how the various hospitals was supposed to be reporting and everything else. The problem is that when you come in as a consultant, a lot of times, the individuals in government positions who don't have the same background as you become hostile. And they work their way around trying to get you removed. That's their operandi, is that they try to get you removed. Now, my associate has been involved in healthcare for so long, and I really respect her because she's probably one of the top programmers and project managers in healthcare data and healthcare systems. As soon as she began asking questions as to why this wasn't happening, why didn't you follow this protocol, and by the way, who sat and who is taking responsibility of the legal information of the system. So there were people inside, people who had been with the state for years and years and years, fought her tooth and nail. They became so hostile to her that she finally said, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm here. I'm trying to help. You guys don't want to listen to me. So she left. And the problem is that there were so many people there who had absolutely no degrees in anything. No educational background in databases or looking at data and the analysis of data. They had no training whatsoever, but they had been in the government for so long that they could not be removed. So the data just sat there. They did not know how to look at the data. They did not know how the data came in, how the data flowed out, what they could show, what they couldn't show. The data was so corrupted, so badly managed, that there's no way that state can have a good number coming out of its healthcare systems. Because the state employees there have decided that if you ask questions of what we're doing, and by the way, they don't know what they're doing, that's the biggest problem, we're going to get rid of you. We are going to make your life so miserable that you're going to be gone. Because we are a state worker, and that's our attitude. If we don't like you, we're going to call you up on harassment charges. We're going to call you up on discrimination charges. You're going to they will come up with anything to remove you from that job. And the problem is that the problem doesn't get fixed. The data situation and the computer situation within these states do not get fixed because of this political sense within the various departments in these states. Do they want to do a job? No. Do they want to get rid of you for doing your job? Yes. Because now you're telling them what needs to be done, and they don't like that. So this is a really bad attitude that is prevalent within the majority of the states nationwide. And that's what has happened within the elections of some of these cities. They have that same mentality. If you're not on our side, we're going to get rid of you. And that was told over and over and over and over again. The data becomes manipulated. You get bad data in, bad data out. And that's what happened a lot of times, where people were feeding in those ballots over and over and over again. One would catch and say, no, you can't. This one is not processing. So they would take the whole stack again and process it over again and again and again. 2 and 3 times per hour that would happen. So when you have people trained, you get a lot better results. But when you don't train people, and when your whole purpose is there to manipulate the election, they don't care about the data. They just want more data to go in there that's bad because they know that they'll get the results that they want. And that has happened time and time again throughout this election. We have really got to begin discussing and holding people accountable on the ethical way that they work. I have my strongest doubts that not one single one of them have ever gone to an ethics training course in the field that they're in within their government position. Because ethics and government seem to clash for some reason. Ethics in government just is no longer there, as you can see when we watch these people who say, okay, everybody's going to be locked out except for me. I'm going to go and have my dinner, but you guys stay indoors. You stay indoors, but I'm going to go out with my friends, and I'm going to eat dinner. Or, everybody locked down, as he's talking to you from Mexico. Don't travel, don't go anywhere, but he's in Mexico on vacation at a wedding. So we have no ethics anymore. And I must tell you this, that in order for any organization, in private sector or in government, in order for them to work efficiently, there's got to be, there's got to be an ethical code. And that has got to be followed, and it's got to be monitored. But it's not happening in government. There is no ethics. It's not happening in the media. There's no ethics. Even though the media, the journalists, they have a code of ethics, but they are not following it whatsoever. The Society of Journalism has a printed code of ethics on their website, but they're not following it at all. Ethics plays a big important part in each and every one of our lives. Listen, when you go to your tax practitioner, he has a code of ethics that he's supposed to follow with the state that he's practicing in, or the industry that he's practicing in. If you were to be in my office right now, as I'm recording this, I have in my frame, and it's a big frame, it's called the Code of Ethics of Accountants. And it's there in front of me every single day, and I see it every single day, and it reminds me of what my responsibilities are ethically as an accountant. So what has happened in this election is that ethics is no longer existent in our elections, which means that your vote, my vote, may be corrupted. The following, I think I've become a follower of data anymore because I'm so concerned with the data. I saw bad data in the COVID situation that was being generated by government institutions. And now I'm seeing bad data within our elections. Because there is no ethics anymore in government. And that is our fault. That is our fault as Americans because we have not held these individuals accountable. And the problem is that we now see that law enforcement also, when we're talking about the Department of Justice and the FBI and all these other organizations, their code of ethics have been put to the side. Where is their code of ethics? And why are they not following it? Because everything that is in government has been politicized. Do people serve government because of the people, or are they serving it because of the political power that is in charge? And I'm afraid it's the latter. The ethics of government is no longer in existence, and now we no longer have free and fair elections. I've listened to the testimony of these individuals, almost brought to tears, and some even had to stop because tears were coming out of their eyes. because they saw these unethical practices by government officials who were leading on this election process, and the process became tainted, it became corrupted. And that's what we are seeing time and time again through these. You know, even though it's a dog and pony show, if you want to call it that Rudy Giuliani is doing, it is showing how corrupt the system has become within government. And you and I, we don't do anything about it. We don't hold these individuals accountable. We don't write the letters that we used to or the emails that we used to. We just let them do whatever they want to do. And we have let them do that. As Americans, we have let them do that. We have not held them accountable. But if you and I were to do anything wrong, even the smallest of wrong, they would be after us, and they would be locking us up, and they would be ruining our reputation. Because the ethics of government is gone. It is a sad situation when you watch this going on, when you hear the testimony, and when you see that the data is being manipulated and added to and changed, and the data, your voting thing that you submit, that is data. And it's being manipulated through unethical practices within our governments. What are we going to do? This is going on and on and on. And we keep finding out what they're telling us is bad data, but they're using that bad data to control the situation in the people of the United States. I tell you, the more and more I think about this, the more madder, if there's a word, mad, the more mad I become. We have seen too much. We have heard too much. Corruption within our government, the unethical practices within our government. And you and I, as Americans who hired these people to do a job for us, have not held them accountable and responsible for the corruption of our government. Perhaps it's time that Americans create their own tribunals and begin bringing these people before us and saying, you did this, we want to hear why you did it and why you didn't practice ethics. Why did you create a corruptible system? And I'm talking about individuals in the Senate and the Congress, individuals down at the poll booths, whoever is acting unethical, bring him before the tribunal. I'm beginning to wonder if that is not our only option. Because it's obvious that the FBI and the Department of Justice and the Attorney Generals around the United States are doing nothing to protect our rights. They're doing nothing to protect our ability to vote in a free and fair election. Instead, they turn their heads and they look in another direction. Ethics. I wrote a book on ethics. It's called Ethically Thinking. It's Not That Hard. And in there I have talked about this so many times on politics and the media. And I've even published in my book, I've published in there the code of ethics of the Society of Journalism and what journalists are supposed to follow. What they're supposed to do that's ethically right when reporting a story, developing a story. And here we go again. We have individuals in government, in the media, who are no longer ethical. They will say one thing and do another thing. They will literally lie to our face. They will literally manipulate the government numbers so that it benefits their political narrative. And we allow them to do it. No one's fact-checking them. No American is fact-checking them. Even the media is no longer fact-checking politicians. They only fact-check Americans. We have a problem here. The ethics in government has got to be reestablished. And the only people that can do it is the American people by holding these individuals accountable for their unethical nature, their unethical activity. We as Americans, we have got to put a stop to this. And we've got to rebuild our country. Because our country has suffered a long time now, with unethical activity. See, the problem is that government always holds the American people accountable for their actions. But the American people never hold government accountable for their actions. See, they have a different situation here. They have a duty. They have sworn an oath to the Constitution of the United States, but they unethically break the Constitution based upon their political whim, their political strategy of how they want to control America, their power. That is where we stand in America at the moment. If we as Americans don't take back control of our nation, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. Why have a constitution? Why have laws in place if government refuses to follow those laws? That is the question. That is the question that each of us should be asking ourselves. If we have government, if we have laws, and Congress created a lot of those laws, but they ignore them. They throw them to the side when that doesn't meet their whim. So we have a problem, Americans, you and I. We can no longer sit here. We can no longer sit here and be quiet. We can no longer pretend that we're living in a free country because we're losing those freedoms every single day because of government. And we can no longer be quiet. Now we have to stand up and we have to let our voice be known. Every single day, each of us should be having an hour of our time dealing with government issues. I hate to say it. I know you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it either. But too much is happening unethically in this nation that we have to hold these people accountable, and we have to let them know that we are watching them, that we are listening to them, and we are following them, and we're not going to allow them to be unethical any longer. This is Mike Lodge. I hope everybody goes out and has a great day today. Get ready for Christmas. I put up my Christmas tree. I'm ready for Christmas. 2020 was a terrible year. So after 5 years of having no Christmas tree in my house, I decided I'm going to put up a Christmas tree and I'm going to celebrate this wonderful activity of Christmas. Even though I live alone, I don't care. I'll do it by myself. The dogs are going to have a good Christmas. I don't care. But a Christmas tree with the lights on it and the smell and the feel and everything that a Christmas tree brings into the house makes me feel more joyful when I know that there's such an unethical activity surrounding me in government. So I hope that everybody is sitting down and preparing for Christmas and really thinking about what the whole meaning of Christmas is all about. We have a lot to do. You and I, we have a lot to do. We can't slow down now. 2021 has got to be a year of accountability. It has got to be the year of accountability. Listen, if you have any questions or comments, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. If you want to know what I do in my day job, go to www.lodge-co.com. Kind of tells you what I do. We got to get better at this, people. Ethics in our lives and our demand for ethics in government has got to start 2021 right now, this very moment. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Everybody go out and have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content. God bless. Bye-bye.